People are very excited. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. We're going to get started in 2 to 3 minutes. Thank you, everyone, for coming today.
Good afternoon, everyone. Everybody's coming to get situated. Close that door. Thank you. First off, I want to thank Dr. Stokes, Superintendent of Gary Schools, and Senator Mark Spencer for bringing Dr. King into town. This is a very special day for the city of Gary to have this opportunity to come and celebrate someone that means so much to the city of Gary. My name is Eddie Melton, Mayor of the City of Gary, and it's truly an honor and a blessing today to stand with you. I want to thank the Gary Common Council members that are here with us today. Councilmen, thank you so much. Councilwomen, thank you so much for your support and being here. All of the elected officials, I think I've seen Council Clerk Rags, and a few others. So let's get this started. As you all know, Gary is a historic city, and it's truly a unique opportunity for us to be here. Almost 70 years ago, on April 22nd, 1959, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was here to accept the key to the city from then Mayor George Chacheras. Today, as mayor, I'm excited to welcome his daughter, Dr. Bernice King, to our city. She is a global thought leader, a peace advocate, and the CEO of the Martin Luther King Jr. Center for Nonviolence Social Change, the King Center, which was founded by her mother and is a legacy to her late father. Dr. King holds a doctorate of law degree from Emory University, a Master of Divinity, a degree from Candler School of Theology at Emory University, and a bachelor's degree of psychology from Spelman College. As a daughter of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta Scott King, she has carried forward their powerful legacy through her own leadership and vision. Building on that foundation, she has guided the King Center under many groundbreaking initiatives. The beloved Community Talks, which creates space for courageous conversations around race, justice, and healing. And the Nonviolence 365 Education and Training, a year-round initiative promoting nonviolence education across communities and generations. She is a licensed attorney, a certified mediator, and accomplished author. Through her leadership, the King Center has reached and empowered more than 500,000 people globally. That number continues to grow every single year. Beyond the numbers, Dr. King's work has created lasting change in communities in the areas of youth engagement, civic leadership, and public policy. Now, quickly, I want to draw the history and connection between the city of Gary and the King family, which is an honor. And I want to thank Jeremy Pekarik from Indiana University Archive for providing the images that you'll see here in front, also in the back, that draws a connection with the King family here in the city of Gary. And quickly, I'll just read some of this history. Dr. Martin Luther King's time at Morehouse College was classmates with Julius James. James eventually moved to Gary, Indiana, where he served as the pastor of St. John Baptist Church. James was an active member of the civil rights movement here in Gary. The relationship between James and King is one of the drivers of King's visit to the city. Dr. King's visited the city of Gary 3 times from 1959 to 1966. During his first trip, he was greeted by Gary's mayor, George Chicheris, who presented him with the key to the city. King also spoke to Gary Memorial Auditorium, where he also signed copies of his book, Stride Toward Freedom. In 1962, he returned to the city-wide Freedom Rally, an event that attracted more than 1,500 people. Finally, in 1966, he was invited to speak at St. John Baptist Church on Massachusetts Street, where he encouraged residents of Gary to join him at Soldier Field for a march to City Hall demanding justice on issues of housing, welfare, education, and jobs. Dr. King spoke to nearly 300 clergy in 1966. This was his last visit to Gary. Less than 2 years later, Dr. King was assassinated. In 1970, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference helped gather nearly 3 million petitions to rally support for a holiday. Illinois was one of the first states to establish Martin Luther King Jr. Day in 1973. During this time, Representative Congressman John Conyers of Michigan proposed a bill in Congress, but it didn't move. And here's a connection that I want to make sure we all recognize and honor and celebrate. Not long after, Indiana Representative Katie Hall from Gary and a graduate of Indiana University sponsored the bill that recognized Martin Luther King Jr. birthday as a federal holiday. So at this time, ladies and gentlemen, it is without further ado and a true honor that I would like to commemorate and celebrate the King family by giving the key to the city to Dr. Bernice King. So if you can join me in welcoming her.
Thank you, Mayor, for granting me access to Gary, Indiana. I really appreciate that. I'm delighted to be here. I think I've been to Gary maybe 3 or 4 times previously, and I wanted to make another tie to your city in a different kind of way. Actually, in 1983, the summer of 1983, I was a congressional intern for Katie Hall, the same year that the holiday passed. And so I'm proud of the time that I spent with her in her office for it's about a couple of months that summer. We live in very tough times. We all know that. There's no secret to that. And when I think about the work that my father did, so many people talk about the external impact that he had. I wrote a book several years ago with the title Hard Questions, H-A-R-D, Heart, H-E-R-T, Answers. And I really think that we are in a season that while people are doing the hard work of organizing and mobilizing, one of the things that we have failed to do on a consistent basis is the heart, H-A-R-T work. There's a lot of things that need to be transformed inside of people, not just people that we are opposed to, but it starts with each and every one of us. When we teach and train people in my father's philosophy and methodology of nonviolence, we often tell them that it's a mirror and a window experience. A window meaning that when I look out that window, it gives me insight and perspective on what's happening, out there. But when I look in the mirror, it's back at me. And it causes me to have to look at myself. And nonviolence is first transformative for the self. So for all those who ever told you, or if you believe that it doesn't work, if it doesn't work, it means that you didn't allow it to work on you first. Because it was never designed to first change the other person. It was designed to change you, and that as you change, you begin to become infectious. I think that's what happened in the movement that my father led, and why he was, what I believe, he was effective in very challenging and difficult times, is because he immersed himself in nonviolence, not just something that he picked up as a tactic to be utilized in various campaigns and demonstrations. Yes, that's what they did, but for him it was a way of life, starting with the way you think, and then it goes out into the way you speak, act, and engage. And so that's the work that we are doing at the King Center. It's very hard work and heart work, which means it takes much longer for people to get it. But I'm committed to carrying forth that part of his legacy, because many people are engaged in work in the arena of civil and human rights, but very few people have given us a blueprint of how do you create effective, long-lasting, and sustainable social change. And so when my father spoke during the Nobel Peace Prize, he delivered a lecture, in fact, during that time period at the university. And one of the things he said in that lecture is that I suggest that the philosophy and strategy of nonviolence immediately, keyword, become a subject of study and serious experimentation in every field of human conflict, by no means excluding relations between nations. And so one thing we have not done is we have not at the level studied Kingian nonviolence. It requires study. We want to change the world, but we don't want to immerse ourselves in what's required to change the world. Passion is good. Passion gets you going, but the thing that sustains you has to be some kind of philosophical, methodological way. And so he left us with so much, and that's why everywhere I go, I'm honored as well as humbled to carry that legacy. I don't have to dwell in what is my legacy. I get asked that question quite often. What is your legacy? I'm thinking, do you not realize I inherited a legacy? And it's not something that I can lay aside and forget about. And it has to be championed, it has to be carried, and it's a legacy of a prophet. And if you know about prophets, when prophets speak in the time that they live in, many of their words are ignored. People turn a deaf ear. And so I'm in the new generation echoing and bringing forth those same words, because we did not listen. Had we listened to what he said in his book, Where Do We Go From Here? Had we read the book, first of all, and I'm telling you now, that we have some tonight, get that book. It is a book that literally speaks to who we are and where we are today. it is actually scary when you read it. You might be able to tweak a few little things here and there, but it actually speaks to our time. And it gives us a guidance and insight on how we move forward. How do we deal with levers of power? You know, sometimes I feel like, the words I speak fall on deaf ears too. And I often tell people hidden within that brilliant writing is a strong suggestion to us. It was written in 67, or published in 67. And he was talking about the way forward. And he talked a lot about organizing and the importance of organizing. But he said that the nettlesome task, and when you look at that word nettlesome, it's irksome, it's tedious, it's bothersome. It's not the sexy part. But the nettlesome task is to discover how to organize our strengths into compelling power so that the government, and I put today, the power structures, cannot elude our demands. And so we miss that. We organize around passion, which is not lasting, but we don't organize around strengths. And we have to know what we're facing so that we can decide what are the things that are needed, what are the strengths that are needed, who has those particular strengths, because at the end of the day, there's several things I can do, but there's some things that I'm much stronger in, that I do better. And too often we're running over each other and people are trying to be jack of all trades and master of none, and then we don't organize those strengths, and we don't have what's necessary from a strategy standpoint to effectively deal with the evils and the injustices that we are faced with. So we keep kind of repeating and running through these cycles, and I think we can break the cycle, but it's going to take discipline, it's going to take study, and not just action. Action is needed to do the change, but if we don't have the heart right, if we don't have the strategy and plan right, if we have not organized around those strengths, then we are going to continue to face very powerful resistance. So I just wanted to thank you again for bringing me here to Gary to just provide a bit of insight. I'm in the midst of everything that's happening. I'm very hopeful because I come from generations of people who have always been able to overcome, who've always been able to stand in the face of very difficult and very cruel and dangerous situations. And yes, there were some losses along the way. But overall, we continue to live. We continue to be resilient. We continue to move forward. And so I'm encouraging us to not get discouraged in this time. We each have a role. We each have a responsibility. We have to discover what that is. We got to connect with, the entities and the organizations that are doing work. And we got to encourage people to how do we organize that strength into compelling power. And so thank you again for allowing me to be here, and I will see, I guess, some of you all later this evening.
So really quick, we're going to have one other presentation from Senator Mark Spencer. I had a chance to work with Dr. King, myself, Brandon Comer, with the National Black Bank Foundation. So we appreciate her leadership on a national level when it comes down to just justice from a financial perspective. So thank you on that. Typically, when you come out to an event, your mind is running a million miles an hour. So I definitely want to thank Judge Deidre Monroe, Clerk Rags, Councilman Tolliver, Councilwoman Linda Barnes-Caldwell, and our President, Lori Latham, and Councilman Halliburton for being here so much today. And now I'll bring up Senator Mark Spencer, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. God bless you. Giving honor to God, to all of you here today, I bring you greetings on behalf of Dr. Yvonne Stokes, our Superintendent of Gary Community School Corporation. I'm speaking in the capacity as Director of Performing Arts of the Gary Community School Corporation initially. I also bring greetings from our School Board of Trustees and the scores and scores of young people we represent. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak. Um, I just want to briefly say it was in 2005. Our Theater Guild family has had an association with your family. We hosted Mrs. Coretta Scott King, and I can simply say that it was a transformative experience, and I had a one-on-one with your mother, and I just want to thank you and your family for being the beacon that you've been for us. And I'm not going to get emotional up here, but I will say from the teachings, it has truly touched my life, and I just wanted to say that publicly. Thank you. And of course, to all of our elected officials, we want to thank them as well. And I know the hour's getting late, but I have a proclamation in my capacity as a District 3 Senator for the great state of Indiana. I simply want to say it's both my duty and my deep honor to stand on behalf of our state to recognize a woman whose voice and vision continue to shape our national conscience. Whereas the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. helped change the moral arc of this nation, Dr. Bernice King has held that arc steady with grace, courage, and conviction, and continues to bend it towards justice. We thank you for that. So today, the state of Indiana joins the city of Gary in saying your life is a living resolution, a call to purpose, to peace, and to public service. And we just want to simply say thank you so very much. We have one more? Come out.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you come out tonight. What time at West Side?
Doors open at 6 p.m.
Doors open at 6 p.m. We have more of an opportunity to hear the prophetic words of Dr. King, like she mentioned before. We want to thank everyone that came, take this moment and opportunity. So enjoy the rest of your day. All right.